What's on your evil mind?
Hold your insulting tongue and mark my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really Iron Man, Mr. Stark?
Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Comic Book Chronicles. I am your host, Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at News Nerds Need on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram.
South Carolina with Columbia down the way.
And the sound effects you've heard come from none other than our man in Brooklyn, @agent_70 on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads.
What's up, everybody? Co-hosting from the borough of Kings, live and direct. We're a little bit behind because of some issues yesterday, but we've resolved those issues. I am back. We're back, ready to talk comics, pop culture, and all the like.
Issues being the key word there.
What's that?
I said issues being the key word there. I see what you did there.
Oh, literally! Wait, literally issues.
I'm just a kid from Brooklyn.
And what's up to our homie Von Gloom in the chat who says, "By Crom, I am on time," and also
Hey!
Brooklyn in the house, because you know.
There you go.
I'm surrounded
Just
by
for
Brooklynites.
that, man.
Cook and roll with the Brooklyn boys, so for one last time, I need y'all to roll.
Oh no, I've got my other version, my other laptop on with volume. Look at that, I can hear myself. That's funny.
Yeah, about to turn
My
that off
bad.
because I can't edit that out easily.
Right.
I had
No
a similar
worries.
order. I had a similar thing happen the other night when I was streaming something. I was like, okay, this is good. Stop. But so
No
it's
worries,
crazy.
all good.
Yeah, it's all good. So yes, so you can find this here podcast on the Cold Slither Podcast Network at CSPN.us.
Do it today.
You can also find us on your podcast perusal place of choice, whether it be Apple, iTunes, like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Cold Slither Podcast Network SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, because that helps people find our show.
Indeed. And folks, we are going to just start off by going ahead and just ripping off the Band-Aid. And all right, folks, we're going to talk about Peacemaker here. We're going to not only talk about one episode, we're going to talk about two episodes, season 2, episodes 4 and 5, which are called Need I Say Door and Back to the Suture.
Right. So ultimately, you know, I'll get to this in a second, but one of the small benefits of having some issues coming into this episode is that we've had a little bit of time to catch up. So we've got both episodes of Peacemaker on deck that we would ordinarily not have had time to watch the Sutures episode last night, but now we've had a chance to watch them. So we're going to be talking about these two episodes. Ultimately, I think the easy way to discuss these episodes is almost as a whole, because we've seen further and further how Gunn is giving Christopher Smith, Peacemaker, more reason than ever to kind of step away from his own reality. Right? We've talked about this. This seemed like the route we were going to go from the moment this multiverse story started to play out. But I feel as if we've reached that point. It's interesting that we've taken a little bit more than halfway through the episode count. It's supposed to be 8 episodes. We've gone through the 5th episode, and so we're a touch past the midpoint, and we had not yet reached that situation where Chris Smith had said, peace out, peace out, I'm out of here. And that's essentially where we've gotten to. I know Roddykat's going to fill in a lot of the blanks that I left out, but in very broad strokes, that's where we find ourselves at the end of the 5th episode. Take it away.
Yeah, so Von Gloom brings up something in the chat that I thought of also. Yeah, because I've been seeing stuff about there's supposed to be some fourth world connection, and maybe that in itself might have to do with the tech involved.
Mm-hmm.
More so than anything else, but people were suggesting that there may be, let's just say, a big bad that is connected to the fourth world that might be getting set up here. Someone is, let's just say. But I just like Von Gloom, I have not seen anything that, or at least outright suggests that. So I don't know. But that being said, yeah, episodes 4 and 5 were basically like, okay, Chris, Peacemaker is kind of, you got on the one hand, you got Rick Flag over there who still wants revenge for his son getting killed, and now that he has the power to do so, and a reason, not necessarily the best reason to do so, but a reason to do so, kind of partially gets what he wants, which also leads to what kind of the decision that Peacemaker has been kind of mulling over for the last couple of episodes, because his sojourns into that other dimension have been so much better than actually being here. So it's like, thank you, Von Gloom, because we were that was another thing we were talking about that at the beginning of the before the show. So we'll get to that in a second.
During our pre-production meeting, we were discussing exactly that and how that might actually be revealed on the show.
If it's going to be revealed on the show, yeah, there's Agent 78 thought of a way that it could be if it does, and if that is the way, yes, then hopefully that is the case. But like I said, we'll get to that in a second. So yeah, Peacemaker is kind of wrestling with his stuff. His feelings for Harcourt, is kind of a thing, which is kind of silly because, well, not silly, but going into episode 5 where the obvious trap he was warned about, he just went ahead and got into. Like, this is a light spoiler for yesterday's episode, but but it was set up in episode 4. So if you've already caught up on that, then it's not that much of a not that much of a spoiler. But he was apparently warned about it, went into it anyway because he's Fifi's, which kind of leads to what he ends up doing at the end of this episode. But right. Yeah, so we get a little bit more with that Michael Rooker character, which the one thing I remember from episode 4 was that some would argue wildly inappropriate dance he did. As he was the
cultural appropriation.
Yes,
the cultural appropriation is strong in that one.
Yes, indeed. So Von Gloom mentions the Tim Meadows character seems so out of place. Yeah, not really, because there's a lot of absurd characters or characters with absurd traits in this show. You can look right onto Economist right off the bat. Right. Everybody else has got their issues also. Well, I mean, Adrian. I can't remember his character's name. It was
Adrian. So look, Adrian Chase. He's the vigilante.
Yes, vigilante. Thank you.
Right. He's like I'm going to circle back all the way to the first. It's hard to believe that first season of Peacemaker was like 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy, son. So, I don't know if I registered these objections. Not that the vigilante character is all that special. It doesn't have that great a history with the DC universe. But, the vigilante character originated in the pages of New Teen Titans.
Right.
It had a relatively serious, start to origin, right? Obviously it was highly influenced by the era, by the 80s, by the Punisher being a popular character, having debuted in the pages of Marvel, DC's competitor. So, now we've got a character named Vigilante in the DC universe, and obviously we've got a very different characterization of the Vigilante character in the Peacemaker universe, in the Peacemaker television universe specifically. So, because I know that there have even been multiple versions of the Vigilante character in the DC comics. So,
Right. I was about to mention that.
he's the one character who I still kind of have objections to, but I get why they're going to make him, kind of silly, to begin with. So, I'm sorry to go on a tangent with that,
No.
but he's the one character that's got, that definitely has issues. I wanted to just shout out, I get a kick out of the fact that, while we can all say, J.K. Rowling sucks, she did leave us with some characters that have infiltrated kind of like the regular lexicon.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, I definitely remember someone calling Economos Hagrid.
Yes, that was Michael Rooker's character called him Hagrid. Yep, I distinctly remember that because that kind of made me chuckle too. It was like, okay, that was pretty funny. That was pretty funny. But going back to the Vigilante thing, yes, there are multiple versions in the DC universe, but there's also so there was a one in the Arrowverse.
Oh, really?
Version. Yeah, it was Adrian Chase in the Arrowverse, and that was a Vigilante there, and of course he was a little bit more, a little bit more serious and quote unquote serious than this particular version was. But
gotcha. I hadn't watched that, so I get. Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah, so therein lies that. But getting back to the thing. Where was
and I do think addressing one note that Von Gloom puts in there. I believe there was another version of a vigilante character, a cowboy vigilante.
Yes, that was what I was going to mention because like when you said multiple versions, I assumed that's what you were talking about. Yes. So the original, the quote unquote, I guess the original version was the cowboy who came into the quote unquote present, and that's what he's talking about from the Justice League cartoon. And then there was the version you're talking about from Teen Titans, which I had assumed was a legacy character from that first one, but I don't know if that's actually any case.
Right, I don't think it was. Right, I don't think it was, and I'm pretty sure that the Teen Titans version begat multiple versions of the character because the original Adrian Chase dies and someone else picks up the mantle and so on. So
right, and crises and these and that and other things happen.
Right.
I got you. So yeah, but actually, here we'll go ahead and we'll do some of the stuff on the chat while I regather my thoughts. But let's see. Von Gloom also says that what we were mentioning earlier, funny that Chris's dream world is essentially Maga's dream world. And I'm like, yeah, like I said, that's what we were talking about prior to the show. Right. Because
right. We have some theories as to how as to what happens in the next episode, because apparently the next episode is going to be the confrontation between the people from the from this reality, from the main DC reality and this alternate. And so we'll see how that all plays out because there are multiple folks of color on that'll be crossing over.
Right. At least a couple. Multiple. Yeah. So
and Hagrid. No, I'm kidding.
But so yeah, so that is the thing. We'll see we'll just wait and see how that turns out, whether it does, whether Agent 70's theory does end up being the case, or how I'm thinking is going to be the case, and they're just not even going to say anything. But we shall see. Let's see. Von Gloom also says Rooker and his niche roles. Yeah. Chris is an idiot as core. He's not Peter Parker. He's Hank Venture. So Von Gloom apparently has seen a lot of Venture Brothers because he is making a lot of mentions to Venture Brothers, which I personally have not seen a whole lot of. I know of because it's basically a Johnny Quest parody.
Okay.
So I
Yeah,
know.
I'm not familiar with it either. So it's
Yeah,
okay.
so I know that much about it, or it's kind of a Johnny Quest parody, but Von Gloom also says Tim Meadows' character gives him Venture Brothers vibes. There was another part with Tim Meadows' character in episode 5 that I mentioned to Agent 70 that I'm not gonna mention here now, but
Right.
it was like, yeah, I feel you. And he was talking about especially the bird blindness. Yeah, that whole thing. Like it's like I said, there's the characters in here that just are kind of stupid. There are even not even the more serious characters, because even the more serious characters got a quirk to them, but there are some just blatantly absurd characters like Tim Meadows' character, Economos, this version of Vigilante are just absurd for no reason. So, like, even Adebayo's got a little bit of a side to her, but at least she's more serious than, half those people I just named, But yeah, all the characters kind of got some weird quirk to them. Some of them are just more absurd than the others. Yeah. Is he going to be in trouble? We don't know. As Von Gloom mentions a character that might be. We also mentioned that because it was like, why in the world? Agent Sam was like, why in the world would that character even? I guess we both mentioned, but the Agent character was the one said out loud. Was like, why would he even do that? Why would he even go through that?
Right.
Like, so and I'm like, you know what, that paycheck can't be that good, but at the same time, yeah, he had a job to do, so I guess he did it. Because like I told Agent 70 before the show, like I'd have been standing right on the other side of that thing. He was like, yeah, they went through, he gone, man.
Yeah, they went that way.
Yeah, so that that portal was here and now it's gone, so I don't know what you're gonna do. So, but that being the case, yeah, so the end of this episode, interestingly enough, did seem like it's ended like a mid-season cliffhanger, kind of. Or at the very least where, not necessarily a cliffhanger, but where a mid-season would go. It was like, well, here's where all of our characters are, and here's what they're, what's going to set up when they come back. But obviously we don't have that because we only have three more episodes, and it's coming next week. But I felt like if they had ended right there and they'd been like, yeah, we'll be back next season or something like that, I wouldn't have been surprised at all. Because it was like, yeah, that's his unlimited Cheetos. Yeah, it was. Yeah, that whole thing with Judo Master and Cheetos was real dumb also. But hey, who doesn't like Cheetos? Anyway, so yeah, this is where we end off, and the one of the gang may have told a bit of an untruth, but they are all kind of going, but also had a change of heart after what they ultimately did to kind of be part of the catalyst for what happened. So we are going to see where that ends up next episode, and I'm just gonna go straight up and just start calling this the Gunniverse, because the DC Gunniverse, because I figure if Snyder can have the Snyderverse, then we can have, not we, but then we could just call this era the Gunniverse, because that's pretty much what it is. And I'm surprised that someone hasn't already went and took to calling it that. And it's probably a Snyderverse person who wouldn't do that, but that's a whole nother situation there. So yeah, we still get ties back to Superman. The whole Rick Flag thing is probably going to continue to be a thing. And we did see a development with another side character that apparently, from what I've read of the character from the comics, was not a thing. Apparently there was a Batman adjacent, with one of the agents is a Batman adjacent character who has, let's just say, been enhanced in this universe.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, but we don't. Well, actually, technically, we did get to. We heard about how that happened. We didn't necessarily get to see it because it's a side character, but it was basically told in the episode, like right after the telltale sign happened. So, now whether we were yes, Von Gloom with that character. So, like I said, I did not know that much about that character until I looked them up, and I'm like, okay, that makes sure. But what happened in the particular episode was a little bit different from, sounds like, what actually happened in the comics. Well, slightly different, because them being an agent, one thing, but a couple other things. Let's say without giving, we don't want to give anything else away. And Von Gloom has a theory as to how that was the case. Is that a thing from the comics, or is that you think that's what happened here? Because that could also go into what people are thinking about the fourth world connection, but I don't know if that's I don't know if that is the case. Let's see. They could if that is something they were trying to do and make that connection with what they've set up this season on the side with because a couple of episodes ago we got the origin of how, actually was it last episode? It might have been actually the last episode. Not that, yeah, it was. It was episode 4 where we found out the how Peacemaker and his dad and them got the doors. So they could not easily, but they could make a jump to saying, yeah, we think it's that kind of technology and da if they wanted to do so, and they very much could and probably will. Okay, so that was in the comics. Okay, interesting. So that was in the Batman comics. Okay, I didn't know because like I've read what little I've read about her. Knew she was Batman adjacent and ended up in like Checkmate or she ended up in Argus, definitely for sure, and I think she was a part of Checkmate in some version. So yeah, and I'm kind of actually wondering if Checkmate might be getting set up here in some way, shape, or form. Because I wonder at the end of this is like Peacemaker and them just end up forming Checkmate as a little side thing, and that's what ends up happening. Because especially with the stuff with Adebayo and what she's starting to do, this kind of seems like something that might end up blossoming into something like that. Like she's not under her mom anymore, which they still hadn't, which that's a whole side thing. But I don't know. Yeah, we got 3 more episodes, so we've talked way too much about Peacemaker.
Well, because there's a lot of tangents that I had not yet bothered, and I can't stress that word enough. Bothered to look into,
and fair, and very fair.
And so, I did not realize that Sacha Bordeaux was a pre-existing DC character. I should not be surprised because none of these characters are ever technically related to the main concept of the show or movie, but oftentimes they're just drawn in because they are in the pool of characters that are pre-existing. Right. That's it. That tends to be how a lot of these Marvel and DC IP vehicles work.
Right.
So I should have realized, I should have been more attentive to this character's origin and looking this up, because now I'm looking at it like, oh, I had no idea.
I mean, like I said, it could have.
And this one, I was about to say, and she's definitely not comic book accurate, because
Right.
comic book accurate means she would have been much taller. But anyway, I'm just cracking on her for being like a shorty.
Hey, but she's a nice looking short. Anyway, but so you could, I mean, it wouldn't be a stretch to think that half of these folks outside of, Rick Flag and whatnot are new characters, whatnot. Like I'm kind of actually the one character I didn't look up was Tim Meadows' character, Agent Flurry, which pretty much sounded like a Nick Fury knockoff, even except for not, without the obvious things, like I was wondering if they just a riff on his name, or I don't know if that's a character that's either new for this or like that's a character from the comic books that they just kind of, also rejiggered around a little bit.
Well, I was about to say to my, to my credit at least, this Bordeaux character was not introduced into Detective Comics until the year 2000. So that's fairly recent in my comic book, canon knowledge.
Right, and as Von Gloom points out, yeah, she would have been Bruce Wayne's bodyguard too. Now, so that which brings me to what I was about to say, because let us not forget that this version of the universe has already been off and running. It's already been kicking off. Things have been happening. Like as Superman established, like shit's been going on for years. So we're basically hitting the ground running, and there are people that are probably out there that are in place we haven't even seen yet that we probably will be. So that being the case, who's to say she wasn't Bruce Wayne's bodyguard, you know, because
At
we
some
know,
point, right?
you know, so we don't get any of her backstory in any of this, and we probably never not. Well, unless she shows up somewhere, unless she shows up in the next one of the another Batman movie, because it won't be in the Batman movie, because I think that's that is a whole separate thing. So unless they, you know, and even unless when they do another Batman movie that is in this universe proper, who's to say she won't show up?
Right.
That kind of situation. So,
All right. Anything else on Peacemaker?
no, that's it. Let's move on to the books of the week. Starting off with, actually, hold on a second. I think you have the soundbite for this. G.I. Joe number 11.
I have a finishing one.
And knowing is half the battle.
Yeah, that'll work. I can put in something else if I need to, but yeah, G.I. Joe number 11.
G.I. Joe number 11 is published by Image Comics. It's written by Joshua Williamson with art by Andrea Milana. Colors are by Lee Luffridge and letters are by Russ Wooton. So this issue has the follow-up to basically virtually all of the storylines that were left dangling at the end of last issue. We deal with the final battle between the Baroness and Major Blood. We deal with what happens to Cover Girl in the aftermath of that battle. And we also find out what has happened to both Clutch and Risk and the Transformer crossover character.
You're still not gonna say his name, huh?
Right. The Transformer crossover character, who's kind of the obvious crossover character when you're dealing with G.I. Joe.
Right. It just makes too much sense on that one. So
Right.
yeah, and yeah, Von Gloom in the chat says, wonder what they will do with Blood now. I mean, and he asked his own question and answered, because I think that's exactly what they're going to do with that character. And yes, as Von Gloom mentions here, we get a little bit more with Night Force, who has a little chat with the general near the end of this. We still don't know whether they're getting their own book or not, or because it feels like they're setting up for them to get their own book. Like this might be the special missions team that we're going to get, and not necessarily a special missions book.
Right. I'm just not a fan of their name.
Night
Their
Force.
name
I
is
mean,
pretty
hey,
lame.
I mean, it's a pre-existing one. You got to use those. Got to use that stuff. You know.
Wait. Was it?
Yeah, I believe that was, if I'm not mistaken, that was a European version of G.I. Joe used that name.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was the Black Ops team from there, if I'm not mistaken, because it definitely wasn't nothing as far as I can remember from here.
Got it.
From the U.S., I should say.
Understood.
Yeah, because we just had special missions, and that was that. You know.
Right. And the one kind of background storyline that seems to be one of the overarching storylines is probably the development of like kind of a mix of Cobra Law and Bat technology.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that seems to be where we're probably going, but we'll see.
Right, because there's a revelation that Risk finds out about, and so does Mercer. But Mercer kind of already knew about things. Actually, I'm bringing up Mercer. I totally forgot that he was a part of Sergeant Slaughter's crew from the movie. Because I was like, where does Mercer sound so familiar? And then I was like, oh,
we mentioned it the last issue, like when we were talking about issue number 10.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if we mentioned it then or not, but yeah, we definitely were mentioning the movie a few different times then. So yeah, that was probably one of them. But so yeah, that whole thing with Clutch, and of course Risk was not necessarily sworn to secrecy. Like, that's giving away a little bit, but that's not really, it was that, which is kind of funny because so everybody starts coming back to the pit, which is coming along nicely in this issue. Cover Girl and Baroness are coming back from their thing, and they have a little bonding moment within that, which was nice. And I assume we're not going to have to worry about Raptor anymore. I do that also another part we may or may not, that might be a loose end that's may or may not come back, but doesn't seem like it. And Risk and Clutch come back with that other Transformer, Cybertronian that shall not be named at this moment, I guess. And so far so good, and Duke's like skeptical, but none the wiser. So, if folks understand why Clutch asked Risk to do what he did, knowing what Duke has been through, it's kind of understandable.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you would have to read the Duke the Duke miniseries if you really, really want to know about that. But let's just say he also has history with Cybertronians. That's all. We'll leave it at that. Cobra Commander and Destro kind of have a little standoff there, which leads to the revelation of what Agent 70 was just talking about. And apparently there's a war coming on that front. It might not be the same, may or may not be the same one, or it may be the same one that we know about that's coming, the Quintesson War. We don't know. It could be something else. It could be that. Probably money is on that at this point. Given things you could put together. So we don't know. But yeah, that whole Major Blood situation's kind of done with for now. And yeah, that's pretty much. I think. Oh yeah, there was when Clutch and Risk was coming back to the base. And this is just me putting my own spin on it, but there was a reasoning that was given as to why they were what happened to them. That feels like to me that calls back to the second G.I. Joe miniseries when Flint and Flint and Junkyard was out and about, and it kind of reminiscent of what they got into, but they also brought back Shipwreck, so that did not happen in this particular case.
Right.
But it just kind of reminded me of that. Like I said, that might have been just coincidental and me putting that out there, but it just felt like that's kind of what that was. Von Gloom in the chat says, what is this? Okay, back up. It's kind of funny. There's a Black Ops Joe team talked about that. It is funny that the Cybertronian fellow assesses the Energon as tainted Energon. Yes, but he still ate it. But he still partook.
Still needed it.
Yeah,
right. Still needed it.
Yeah, and I think that is also a thing that's probably because we know Cobra Commander has access to a version of Energon that he's probably using for that stuff that they're using. So that makes a whole lot of sense. It's not the stuff that you're going to find in Void Rivals at this point. But so yeah, I assume that's going to look into it. And because of that whole situation, the Joes might be getting back on their feet and, might be getting a tech upgrade at some point soon. Mm-hmm. That probably may or may not have anything to do with the Cybertronian that is in their midst. They might lend a hand, might not. We don't know. But Wagner says, reminds me of the Chappelle skit, what the hell is juice? I want great drink. I don't know that one. Well, at least I don't remember that one. But Mercer, the former Cobra turned Joe. Yep, that's what we were talking about. Let's see. How did Mercer avoid treason, domestic terrorist charges, and switch teams without any type of flack? Are we talking about from the movie? It's a
comic. Right, it's a comic book.
Right. Well, it was work release also. So, he was, Sergeant Slaughter was reforming. He was doing a reformation project. So he probably goes like, yeah, give me all these folks. I'll whip them in the shake. But, also these are the dudes that will do what need to be done in a way. So, and I'm pretty sure that was what the situation was there. Duke hates the effing clankers, which just puts me in mind of Clone Wars, which would be another tie to later on. They killed his friend. Yeah, hey, look, man. It was a situation. Things happen. Like, I kind of gave away what happened in the thing, but still, it's worth a good. It's still worth a read. Duke is a robophobe. That's taken a little far, but yeah, sure. I mean, he's a Cybertroniophobe, I guess, if you want to, get specific about it. But
That's funny.
But actually, I don't even think he even knows them by the name. He just knows them just like most people do, who's just like them robots. So, outside of the people who are closer to them, so 'cause all of that is going to come out at some point. Maybe in a GI Joe versus Transformers like situation, or more likely Quintess on War. I don't even know. Like I said, some of that stuff is still up in the air, even though that's soon. That being said, though, yeah, that was GI Joe number 11. I actually almost had this as a potential click of the week, for reasons, but it just kind of missed that. Just for the Major Blood stuff and the bonding sessions. So, well, to be fair, you know what? If you had to go up against the Bats, would you like them? No, they're good as figures, but they ain't good to go against. So it's totally understandable why he doesn't like Bats either. Also, Bats were made with Cybertronian technology, so there you go. Or partially, excuse me, because Destro made them, but they're still being powered by Energon. So still there. Anyway, we're going to go to the next book that we have in common, which is... Oh, that's right. Fantastic Four, number 3.
Alrighty, Fantastic Four number 3 is written by Ryan North, with pencils by Humberto Ramos. Inks are by Victor Olazaba, colors are by Edgar Delgado, and letters are by our favorite lettering paisan. E-letters, a lot of books this week. VC's Joe Caramagna. So, an interesting part about this issue of FF is that it ties directly into some of the events happening under the title One World of Doom.
Mm-hmm.
One World Under Doom, that is. So, we have some tie-ins with some editorial notes where, we're kind of flashing through some sequences that occurred in other books, and we come to find out, much like we've talked about when it comes to One World Under Doom, we find out what Victor's way of we find out what Victor Von Doom has been doing to constantly keep winning. Right? And it's very much I would say it's very much a way of looking at things from a very gamer point of view. We'll put it that way. And once that's discovered, it's an interesting thing to see the counter measure that they put into play. And while we don't see the ultimate resolution of One World Under Doom in the pages of Fantastic Four, that's obviously going to be something to be hashed out in the pages of the One World Under Doom miniseries. It's interesting to see that we kind of get the big reveal, the big fix, I guess, instituted here in these pages.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think, Roddykat?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. So yeah, definitely a very gamer thing that gamer centric thing that Ryan North has had Victor getting into. Well, fairly decently done also, but it's also like, it was been funny the last couple of issues to hear hear Doom talking about save states, which is what basically is at play here, but also in relation to one of the other characters who basically foils the plan, who is the last one you would think of to even come up with the plan, but also, sometimes Johnny comes up with a banger every now and then.
Right. I mean, listen, he's the one that decides to take off all of his protective warm weather clothing, warm clothing that is not warm weather clothing,
right?
But warm clothing, and North and Ramos put in a little sequence that makes that validates why Johnny did what he did.
Right. That part was kind of funny. I was like, okay, yeah, it's just Johnny. Because basically, I didn't think I even had it in my notes. Like, yeah, just Johnny. I think I just said Johnny, please. But that's a pure Johnny thing to do, and sure enough, it paid off for him. So, um, but yeah, so that whole thing was what it was. We get some science facts. We get a little bit of rewriting of things now that the things have been found out. Also, a mention of Emperor Doom, which I know that's kind of what they've been calling him, but we haven't really seen them call Doom this whole time during One World, or at least I haven't remember seeing too many times of them calling it Emperor Doom, which just calls back to the last time when we talked about One World of the Emperor Doom graphic novel,
Right.
But they're finally putting that in here now, so which is kind of funny. But also, I found myself wanting to read a book on Alicia's aunt school, because there was a part in here when she was talking to the kids, talking about the first thing we learned in aunt school was this, that, and the other. And I was like, you know what? I would read that book, honestly, because given the number of aunts in the Marvel universe, I could see something come out of that. It was like, no, first of all, I have a superpowered nephew. I'm not supposed to know he's superpowered, but let me tell you how to handle that situation. Just feigning ignorance. That'd be Aunt May's class. Also, when you become cosmic powered, I don't know, that's a what if in itself, something like that. Anyway, but regardless, that was a whole thing. But Fantastic Four. And the only other thing I was going to mention, it was that first reference to Agent 70 was mentioned. I don't remember that at all, even though that was like a couple of years ago. But to be fair, we read a lot of stuff, so it's kind of things kind of goes. It's like that first reference that got footnoted and talked about.
Oh, the first sequence.
Yes, I was like, I don't remember that at all. So, I guess I had the time, now that I think about it, because I read this, and since I read this issue a couple days ago, I guess I could have gone back and read the footnoted issue, since we do also have the resources there, saying Marvel Unlimited, catch it. But I did not. So maybe I will, maybe I won't. Who knows? Regardless, Reed Richards does the eye thing again, and I hate it. And yeah, this is, and yeah, we are still, 10 toes down in One World Under Doom, or at least the FF is in that, which I know they are going to be. Well, actually, this might be the last one for them, now that I think about it, because that preview image for next issue does not seem related. And I know, like I said, this is the last month, if I'm not mistaken, for One World Under Doom. And there's only a few issues left, a couple of issues left of that. So, actually, I know the FF might have another issue in it. I was looking at the checklist at one point. Regardless, it doesn't matter.
Right, there might be an aftermath, an epilogue, something that kind of wraps things up on the FF side.
Right.
We're I hate to say this, we have to look at the real world calendar. Like, we're in September, so the fall winter crossovers or events are going to start rolling in soon.
Pretty much.
So as kind of weird as it sounds, like the One World Under Doom thing's been going on for a while now, and
about 3 months.
It's about time that it wrapped up.
Pretty much. So yeah, that was FF number 3, and we shall get into the last book that we have in common, which is also another potential click of the week, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I did put that there. Ultimates number 16.
Ultimates number 16 is written by Dennis Camp, with art by Juan Frigeri, colors by Federico Blee, and letters, once again, by our favorite lettering paisan, VC's Joe Caramagna. Now, I, too, have Ultimates number 16 down as a potential click of the week. It is shockingly prescient, but at the same time, the analogies to real world events and real world happenings is, eerie and frightening, and just hitting a little bit too close to home right now.
Yep, true.
And when I read this, I wanted to, I needed to take a break having read this
Hmm.
because it was pretty affecting, right, to me.
Right. Agreed.
And
Agreed.
and that's pretty much, me. I'm the broad strokes guy. I choose not to. I choose not to delve into deep spoilers for the most part. I definitely don't hew to that closely every time we talk about a book, but yeah, that's going to be my take on this issue of Ultimates, because it was that effective a story for me. Because if you're reading that book now, and in the climate that we're in now, um it cannot help but ask you to think and make you think. So
We would hope.
with that, I hand it off to Roddykat.
Yeah, I agree. So the one thing I will say is that I think definitely last issue was a lot heavier. I'm not saying that this wasn't, but a lot heavier with the strokes than this one is. This one's lightened it up just a little bit, but everything Agent 70 just said was spot on. Because reading this in this climate and some of the things that are brought up in this issue, just like you could almost rip that from the headlines. Just about, obviously there's a little bit of an embellishment here and there because of what you can do in this world, but probably not by much. Honestly, well, I was going to say if folks could get away with that, and realistically, in a couple of cases, I think they actually have. It could very well be something straight up out of what's going on right now. That being said, though, we get to see the Ultimates movement affect someone's life on the ground. We got to see, how they came up with the things and how things on the team's side kind of came together, but we saw very little of people coming into it from the ground floor or on the ground, as it were. And we followed this character who, could have been somebody of note, for all I know, or could have ended up being somebody of note that we know of. But no, just a kind of a regular. Well, still, as far as we know, we're just a regular person who kind of bought into the Ultimates movement, and we kind of basically see them go from here to there. We find out about we find out about what happened to the original version of She-Hulk. Let's just say, not necessarily. Right. Excuse me. We find out what happens to Jen Walters in this world, not necessarily the original version, because the original version in this particular universe is the one that we got. But yeah, we find out what happens to Jen Walters in this universe, and we might even be seeing a little bit more mutants, because unless something's happened in Ultimate X-Men that kind of broadened it up a little bit, we haven't really seen too much outside of that book with mutants. And as far as I can tell from or at least from what I've read in this universe, this seems to be the only other outside, adjacent thing to that we have seen. There might have been something in passing, but I don't remember. But yeah, so that's pretty much the gist of this story, and where it ends off. I guess we'll see what happens to the character that is involved here, going or in the next episode or next issue or somewhere down the line. I assume this is gonna continue next issue, because I feel like they're just kind of not just gonna lift to that. Maybe there will be some interaction with the team, but we shall see. But yeah, it was a great read. Despite the a little on the nose, little close to home, as Agent 70 said. It is definitely still all of that, but I guess that's part of what makes it a good read. But also, like I said, last issue almost made me put it down halfway through. This one, I was like, I got through it, but it's the feelings are still there.
Yeah.
So, and with that, We unless Agent 7 has something else he wants to add in.
No, I didn't have that same feeling that you had reading the previous issue, but I guess I'm going back to it now, thinking, oh, I can see it a little bit because obviously last issue we're dealing with kind of the mashup of all the mashup that we kind of all wanted to see, and but I feel like this issue specifically, because it deals with like real world ramification with on the ground ramifications, that this one hits that much harder.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I might not even be thinking about Ultimates. I might be thinking of One World Under Doom, because I don't know. But
oh, right.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. I have to go back and read last issue to see if some of that still plays. But take it as I might have been thinking of One World Under Doom at this point. But anyway, like I said, that being said, oh wait, excuse me. Von Gloom says, "I read comics to escape this world," and Ultimates is saying, "Hey, buddy, get back to reality." Kinda,
Yeah.
But you know what? The one good thing you could say about it is there are folks that are out there who, while they say that same thing you just said, may need a touch of reality. And if by chance this kind of gives them, because some of those, let's face it, there are people out there in the comics fandom and whatnot that, let's just say, a little out of touch. Let's just say might be okay with things that are going on for one reason or another. Might need a little touch of reality, and they're not getting it. And if this is a way to do it, hey, so be it. I don't feel that that's particularly strong about that they'll catch that message, but every little bit helps, I guess. If that is what Dennis Camp is hoping to happen, or even a side effect of what would happen, then more power to it.
You hope at some point the lesson gets learned or the lesson gets taught. Sometimes it's not in the way you expect. So the hope is that if you keep putting it out there, it finally sinks in, finally makes its way through, finally penetrates to some extent. So, that's all you can ever say. That's all you can ever hope for.
Exactly, because hell, there are people still thinking that that the X-Men has nothing to do with racism.
Right. Goodness.
So, I'm like, yeah, y'all are stupid. Y'all are way too stupid to be around here. But this is the world we live in. That being said, like I said, we are going to go into rapid fire reviews.
Alrighty, rapid fire review time, folks. Here we go.
I ain't got time to bleed.
Alrighty, leading off, the big event book of the week, of the month, is Marvel/DC Deadpool Batman #1. Marvel/DC Deadpool Batman #1. The first story. Now, this is going to be a mouthful, folks. Bear with me. The first story is written by Zeb Wells with pencils by Greg Capullo, inks by Tim Townsend, colors by Alex Sinclair, and letters by VC's Clayton Cowles. Story 2 is written by Chip Zdarsky with pencils by Terry Dodson, inks by Rachel Dodson, and letters by VC's Joe Caramagna. Story 3 is written by Kelly Thompson with art by Guri Huru and letters by VC's Joe Caramagna. Story 4 is written by Kevin Smith with art by Adam Kubert, colors by Frank Martin, and letters by VC's Joe Caramagna. Story 5 is written by Al Ewing with art by DK Ruan, colors by Moreno Dionisio, and letters are by VC's Joe Caramagna. Story 6 is written penciled and inked by Frank Miller, with colors by Alex Sinclair and letters by VC's Joe Caramagna. And Story 7 is written by Ryan North, with art by Ryan Stegman, colors are by Frank Martin, and letters are by our favorite lettering paisan, a busy guy this week, VC's Joe Caramagna. So, I honestly don't care what happens to Deadpool. I've I've read a couple of Deadpool runs. I've read a couple of Deadpool comics. I collected a Deadpool volume for a short period of time. I'm okay with the character. I don't hate the character. I don't particularly need to see this character interact, but I understand why this character was chosen to be the crossover character with Batman. I'd absolutely understand it. My personal favorite crossover story was the Captain America Wonder Woman story by Chip Zdarsky and the Dodsons. My second favorite crossover story was by Kelly Thompson and Gurihuru because that involved a little bit of a volleyball game between some super animals. So that was actually pretty fun. So, with that said, this is a pretty fun crossover. It doesn't have much tease of like a kind of a intercompany crossover moving forward, but you never know. You never know. It's I hope people were not expecting Avengers versus JLA, but
Kinda.
we'll see what happens. Next up is Amazing Spider-Man number 12. It's written by Joe Kelly with pencils by Ed McGuinness, inks by Cliff Rathburn and Ed McGuinness. Colors are by Marcio Meniz and Eric Arciniega, and letters are again by our favorite lettering paisan VC's Joe Caramagna. This episode of Amazing Spider-Man finds the rest of the Spider gang, the rest of the Spider people, the residents of the Spider-Verse that call the 616 home, currently, all team up to take on who is running around acting as Spider-Man right now on the streets of New York. They're not so happy with what they find out, but we find out that we're going to be moving forward, at least in the near interim future, with this particular status quo, while the other shoe worn by Peter Parker drops at some point, right? That's going to be sometime in the near future. We have to see that particular story play out. Next up for me is Uncanny X-Men number 21. It's written by Gail Simone with art by Luciano Vecchio, colors by Matthew Wilson, and letters by VC's Clayton Cowles. So I'll tell you that Uncanny is probably the strongest character piece when it comes to the X-Men stories that are being told nowadays. It's very disappointing that the big crossover event, the event that's going to be kind of spearheaded by what's happening with what happened with Doug Ramsey, is going to start next month, right? Uncanny X-Men is going to be put on hold, and what we're going to be dealing with are the crossover comics. We're dealing with like an anniversary of the Age of Apocalypse, so all of the regular X books are going to be put on hold while these alternate, quote unquote, alternate future, like deep into the future X books take over, right? The age of, what do they call it?
Revelation.
Thank you. Age of Revelation. I was going to pull out the, my copy of the Marvel Solicitations to take a look at that. But yeah, that's going to be what, like 4 months worth of this alternate storytelling,
Something like that.
X years from today.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I figure it's going to be. It's going to be like 3 or 4 months of storytelling. So we'll see what's worth keeping up with and what's worth talking about. But ultimately, it's a shame that Uncanny X-Men is going to be taking a break for the near future. But I know that that Gail Simone is going to be working on the volume of, what is it? Shoot, I had it on the tip of my tongue. Is it Unbreakable X-Men? Yeah, Unbreakable X-Men. That's going to be her. That's going to be her book. And last but not least is Nightwing number 130. published by DC, is written by Dan Waters with art by Dexter Soy, colors by Veronica Gandini, and letters by Wes Abbott. So this issue of Nightwing follows up directly on the events of the previous storyline, where the previous story arc established a couple of things going on in the pages of Nightwing and in the city of Bloodhaven, which is that there are ramifications to Nightwing's actions in taking down the previous criminal regime and previous criminal structure, thereby creating a vacuum. Now we've seen this in other comics where, like, the rough equivalent of what Nightwing did was basically like Daredevil and or Spider-Man and or one of the other New York City heroes taking down the Kingpin, and there's a vacuum in the criminal underworld that begs to be filled. Right? There's nature abhors a vacuum, and so the criminal underworld does the same. And there's always going to be someone rushing to fill those shoes, and that's what we're dealing with in the pages of Nightwing. And one of the other kind of funny things that this run of Nightwing has brought us is a mix of the sci-fi and a mix of the DC mythology that it kind of provides a bit of a counterbalance to the grim and gritty of Bloodhaven. So it's an interesting mix to read. And with that, I'll hand it off to Roddykat.
Alrighty. Von Gloom says the main mutie was interesting and should have been the original Amalgam instead of Darkclaw. He also asked, is that icky storyline with Norman Osborn and Gwen hookup still canon? Don't know.
Kind of.
Is it?
Kind of.
Weird. Yeah. He also. What's that?
If you read through, I was about to say, if you read this month's issue of Amazing, I guess you could see it as a very vague reference to that.
Gotcha. Because you would think they would have done some. Well, no, I don't know that. But you would think they would have done something to kind of
to rewrite that. No.
Yes.
No.
So. But then again, well, I was about to say kind of similar to Xavier and Jean Grey, but it did kind of do a little bit of smoothing on that. I think at some point. Well, and re-Richards and Super. We're not even going to get that. But let's see. Von Gloom also says, like the people who watch The Boys and don't realize that Void and Homeland are the bad guys. Yeah. Also, that's always been funny because it's a show coming from Amazon. But yeah. Either who's, we're going to get to my first book, which is Dick Tracy, number 12, written by Alex, oh wow, that's a typo, Alex Segura and Michael Morrissey, art by Geraldo Borges, creative consultant Chantel Amy Osman, colors by Mark Englert, and letters by Jim Campbell. So yeah, I think I might have missed the last issue of this because there was some stuff in here that was like, wait, I don't remember this happening. So I might have to go back and reread that last issue. But basically there's a pair of sisters making some trouble for Big Boy. And of course, Tracy becomes involved with him, but he's also trying to look into some, another thing where apparently someone he knew from the war who's a spy now kind of came into town, about something. His partner Pat got hurt at some point. It might have been last issue. Tracy goes to see Breathless Mahoney for some information, and they had beef somehow, some way. But Tess, true to her nature, comes with the information that Dick needs, and of course, all of this has to potentially do with Nazis. So, as I say in my notes, did not see this coming. And a trip that Tracy and Tess are about to make to where, let's just say, Nazis originated from. Yeah. That may have to do with one of his his arch enemies, or one of his rogues gallery, and relation to one of the characters I might have mentioned just now. So yeah. Next up, Ultimate Black Panther number 20, written by Brian Hill, art by Stefano Caselli, color artist David Curiel, and letters by VC's Corey Pettit, or Petit. It's Pettit. Anyway, T'Challa takes a trip to the ancestral planes while his body's healing up, for a little history lesson about vibranium. And spoiler alert, folks, it goes intergalactic. Which brings T'Challa to have a choice to make at the end of this issue. And there's another set of folks called the UKFA, I believe is called, that are mentioned in this, which is weird. The word, there is a scene that some would say Brian Hill might have taken from the beginning of the first Black Panther movie that he uses to an effect at near the end of this book, and even go so far as to the word colonizer comes into play very loudly, which it will probably be up on CB caps at some point, if I ever get that back to running. So, but yeah. T'Challa kind of has his mission, and and that mission, like I said, at the end of this issue, feels similar to what happened at the beginning of the first Black Panther movie, but the only difference is that he gives not necessarily a speech, but he was basically tells them like, hey, if you need help, holla out at me, I'll hear it, kind of situation. So, but the way he does it and the wording being used was actually pretty good. So, I appreciated that. So there is that. Next book for me is New Avengers number 4, which is written by Sam Humphries, with art by Tiago Palma, color artist Rain Barreto, letters by VC's Joe Sabino. So this is another potential click of the week for me, as a possessed Namor has to go up against the New Avengers, and they have to try to stop him because he's possessed by the Illuminati version of himself, the abomination, as he would say, of himself. And the majority of the issue is them trying to deal with that and the Illuminati version, who is called, of course, Imperious Rex. And they're dealing with that. The one thing that made this a potential click of the week outside of that, and one of the other Illuminati that they thought they dealt with might be coming back. But the couple of things that made this a potential click of the week for me is a certain interaction with a not so surprising interaction with Bucky and Natasha, which leads to Bucky almost becoming Cable, seems like. But also at the end, there was a conversation about, hey, if you were this other character, which I won't name, what would you do? And let's just say Namor's response is kind of priceless if you know the history and what and the character that was being asked about. So that was pretty good. And then, of course, this leads into where they're going to end up next, as the Illuminati kind of dropped a very troubling thing on a town that I'm sure that the New Avengers are going to end up investigating next issue, but we shall see. Next up, though, from the Nacelle corner of the universe, we have 80s, 90s cartoons, Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa, number 1 of 4. Yes, this is
wait, what?
Yes,
Who?
yes. Which is kind of, you saying it just like that reminds me of something off of a Tyler Perry commercial that I just saw, that I've been seeing lately. So that's kind of funny. Anyway, yeah, Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa. So that was basically, it's an old, like, I think it's 80s, early 90s cartoon. It's one that I know about, but I've never actually sat and watched. But the name is descriptive. If you can't get, what that's about from that title, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sure there are some people out there who knows all about it. But I just noticed that, well, not just noticed, but at the beginning of the book, these words were called out. There were other champions within the Nacelle verse. This is their story. So that almost suggests to me is like, oh yeah, so are they going to do some sort of shared universe thing at some point? Because that sounds like something they would probably do. Yes, because there's no way where you would say something like that and and not end up being something at some point.
Right.
But
there has to be.
Right. And I've read most, if not all, of the Nacelle books. I'm fairly certain I have not seen any kind of wording similar to this in reading any of those. So anyway, so it starts, quote unquote. I don't know. Again, I don't know that much about this thing outside of the fact that it's a cartoon from the late 80s, early 90s, whatever the case may be, and what the name implies. So yeah, there's a little bit of a quick history lesson that was kind of given at the beginning of. I don't know if the character that was giving it is one that is a part of the show or is new to this book. I don't think so. It's probably somebody who was probably I would have to go back and actually watch I would watch an episode or two to kind of find out if even it gave that kind of history. But this book is pretty punny in an animal sense, if the name is an indication, and boy, does it keep going on that line. So yeah, the main character's name is Moo Montana, which if you're watching the video version, you can see the character right there. Who has guns that shoot stars, which kind of reminds me of Brave Star, and I kind of wish they did actually bring back Brave Star, because I actually like Brave Star, which is also kind of funny because that was also brought up recently somewhere else from somebody else. But like I said, book's pretty full of animal puns. There is a thing that's going on where people are going, or excuse me, the residents of a town that are going, which is not necessarily all of these people are animals, but regardless, there are people getting going missing. Including Moo Montana's friend and mentor, who was the sheriff of the town, who's also gone missing. So he got brought in to help out. Against the wishes of the mayor and much to the chagrin of the deputy, who is named Terrible, who I assume is probably the antagonist of the cartoon, because you cannot tell me with a name called like Terrible that is not a bad guy. But nevertheless, like I said, Moo Montana comes into town to an actual cricket sound made by a cricket. Animal puns, like I said, meets a bunch of people in the town. Somebody else gets snatched and kind of ends up having to go into action against I don't know if it's the main villain, I doubt it, but the villain who is just so happens to be dressed in armor, called Dark Horse, of which made me think, wait, so they're taking shots against Dark Horse? I mean, I'm sure that was probably
not.
No, I know, and yes, I know, but that was the joke I made in my notes, because it was like, wait, so Dark Horse is the bad guy here. I see what you're doing, but not really. That's probably again another character from the actual show that
right.
That was put into to the effect. But yeah, so and we do get to actually see, if I'm not mistaken, the other members of the other cowboys kind of pop in for a second. For a thing, so I assume everything's going to come together probably next issue, and the other two issues is them, dealing with the overall problem going on here. So it was an interesting read. Like I said, it was for not having that much of a familiarity for the source material, and I'm sure the toys for this are already about that, because if Nacelle's going to do anything, there's going to be a marketing blitz on certain sides. And I know I probably have seen, if you've gone to Walmart and you've seen the displays for some of the other stores, I'm sure these are going to be added at some point. Either way, that's not me shilling for Nacelle, but just saying, don't be surprised if you out in the stores and you see them. That's all I'm saying. Last but not least is a book that I had to catch up and had the time to, thanks to our day later, caught up with Star Wars #5, which is written by Alex Segura with art by Phil Noto, letters by VC's Clayton Cowles. So yeah, there's a lot that's happened in this book, but basically the short of it is there were a few different things that ended up coming together from different sides. Like Luke and his X-Wing partner was on a mission, at least from what I remember reading from the first issue. Leia and Mon Mothma was basically doing some negotiations on the planet, which kind of fell apart. Han Solo got called by Valance. I can't remember his last name, but the bounty hunter from, if you've read any of the bounty hunters book, he's the main dude in on stuff. But also ended up getting called in the last couple of issues by Lando Calrissian, who at this point, this is still Empire Strikes Back era, is still, well, one is still around and still a part of Cloud City. So, or has, I guess must have gotten Cloud City back at some point from the Imperial stuff. So a lot of things going on, but all of it has to do with, apparently there's a new syndicate or conglomeration that's trying to start stuff in the galaxy. Like I said, the thing with Han and Lando had to do with old smuggler friends of theirs, which in another issue that Luke ends up finding out the name about, because there's a rebellion going on a parent that this person was a part of or the head of. And unfortunately, that person was met with a demise. So the people behind it thought there was that the rebellion was squashed, but not really. And that all kind of leads into this issue with, like I said, things are kind of coming together, like Leia falling into a similar trap that she did with Han Solo on Cloud City, but not at Cloud City. Let's just say. Luke and Han and the rest of them ended up comparing notes on the situation and going off to investigate the situation that had to do with this other planet that's fallen under a problem. And that is, as I said earlier, brings back the Clone Wars references, of which there are a couple that come up in this issue. One of which being, let's just say, Roger Roger. That's the thing. But also at the end of the issue, Luke and crew ends up finding some remnants of the Clone Wars to give them a little bit of a hand and how bad things are going, as things tend to happen, with this group in this universe. So yeah, pretty good read. And that is it for me. Kliqs of the week.
Kliqs of the week.
Oh, and I apologize. I totally forgot to give the creative crew for Wild West Cowboys of Mesa.
Go ahead.
It was written by Matt Hodson with art by Juan Gideon, colors by Carlos Cabrera, and letters by Jeff Powell. So there you go.
Alrighty, Kliqs of the week. Why not?
Yeah.
So,
you just
what
saved me a
do
good
you
bit of
have
editing, actually.
as your candidates, unless you have your pick already laid out?
So candidates are, as I said earlier, Ultimates, New Avengers #4. There you go. There's that. Yeah, you know what? G.I. Joe's is in there. Because that was kind of fun. Let's see. And I believe my last one was Fantastic Four #3.
Right. So Fantastic Four number 3 is a candidate for myself. Ultimates number 16 is a candidate. And I would throw in Uncanny X-Men number 21 as a candidate. You know, the the work that Gail Simone is doing on the current run of Uncanny is grown on me, right? We're 21 issues in, it's definitely grown upon me. And it's, like I said, it's a kind of a shame that that they're going to be taking a bit of a break, but I think that the amazing X-Men that she's going to be doing as part of this Age of Revelation business is going to be, you know, tied into what she's doing in Uncanny.
Right.
But I think my choice for Kliq of the week is going to be Ultimates number 16.
Good. Yeah, it's a good choice. Good choice. I still need to catch up on the X corner of the universe because like I said, I'm still a few issues behind. But I've enjoyed Gail Simone's stuff, or her work on Uncanny specifically, but also other stuff she's done in the universe in the past. So it's cool. But for myself, let's see. I'm sometimes, as I've said in the past, sometimes we give Kliqs of the week to a moment in the book and not necessarily a book as a whole. But in this particular case, it kind of serves a little of both because it was a fun read, and that is talking about New Avengers number 4. Like I said, that moment with the thing that was asked at the end and Namor's response, which you kind of know. You like I said, if you know the history, you kind of know what he was thinking, and that's all I'll say. Which kind of just made me laugh out loud. So,
I guess I have to catch up on this new Avengers book.
I mean, you could very well just read this issue and be all right. But yeah, if you want to catch up with what's going on, then yeah, but do so because it's been fun. It's been a fun read so far. So, and I didn't think I was gonna say that about this book, honestly. Even though it is Sam Pomfrey, so he's good for bringing fun stuff. So, it's good to see him back to form. And with that, though, we are going to go into the news section, but first, an ad read.
Alrighty, our first ad read of the night is for Blue Apron. Blue Apron's meal delivery service. Blue Apron, fresh ingredients and incredible recipes delivered weekly to your door. Skip the grocery store and make incredible meals at home with Blue Apron. Always shipped free right to your home. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can get $30 off your first Blue Apron order. To place your first order with $30 off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down to the Blue Apron link and sign up for your first order. Blue Apron through cspn.us. Do it today. And now we get into the news.
As we get into cinematic news, as we do about this time, James Gunn confirms the original choice for DC's Peacemaker, and according to this article, it would change everything. And I'm like, this is probably the one time you're going to hear me say, I'm glad they went with John Cena.
Oh no.
Because the original choice, it would probably actually not be a surprise if you know anything about Gunn, and he likes to reuse people. It was Dave Bautista. So again, wouldn't have been a surprise. And this was from an interview that he did on some show that I'm not even gonna name. But yeah, that was the first choice. But and apparently Bautista was even offered the role. And yeah, but apparently I guess he was doing other stuff and couldn't do it or something. I don't know. Regardless, next up.
Alrighty, James Gunn explains why the intro sequence changes throughout Peacemaker Season 2. So, I mean, I kind of noticed this. Let's see. So the dance number set to the tune of Foxy Shazam's "Oh Lord" slightly changes in each episode. On Threads, Gunn confirmed this was the case, saying that every episode the edits are subtly different. A specific example of this is how Michael Rooker has been in the intro each week, but it wasn't until episode 4 that the show cuts to his single. So when asked what the reason for the changes were, what the changes was, Gunn said many episodes are different to focus on different characters. Okay.
Yeah, and you get a sense of that, but at the same time, so I think I might have said this in the first episode of the season, and if I didn't, I don't remember. But it doesn't seem like some of the moves they were doing was that much different from what they were doing in the first season. In fact, you can go back to the first season and confirm that as much. Yeah, there was a couple of things that got changed around, but it's very subtle differences as to as to what quote unquote changes. So sure. So, but yeah, there is that. And I apologize if you're watching the video version, you might have seen me doing some moving around of stuff. But hey, I guess this from this article from IGN, we get confirmation on who is going to be in the Supergirl movie, and outside of Millie Alcott. Let's see. Yeah, we know who it's based off of. Let's see. We know Crypto's going to be in it. Sounds like Jason Momoa's Lobo is going to be it. Well, we knew that, yes. The Jason Momoa's Lobo is going to be in it. Let's see. Matthias Schronartz is going to be Krim of the Yellow Heels, apparently. No clue who that is. Eve Ridley is going to be Ruthie Marie Knoll. Don't know that character. And David Krumholtz is going to be, father of Jor-El. I'm sorry, this father of Kara. So he's going to be Zor-El, as she is the daughter of Zor-El. So there you go. Let's see. Aluna Nze, played by Emily Beecham. And of course, this article asks.
Okay, did you skip a story?
No, I don't think so. Did I? Let's see. Oh, I surely did. I'll go back and
It's all right, no worries. It's just that I need to keep up, so that I know what to follow up with next. So you can do
that was my fault.
Okay.
That was my fault because actually I had it up, but there's a thing that came up. So yeah, and of course this article asks if David Corenswet's Superman is going to appear in the movie, which kind of has to, right? Even if it's just like, hey, yeah, here's your dog back or something. I don't know, but we'll see. But yeah, going back to the one that I missed, and I apologize for that. Oh, I hate when this happens. You're going to see me doing some stupid stuff live. There we go. So Peacemaker's season 2 cyborg character reveal and DCU teams. So we kind of talked about this when we were talking about Peacemaker season 2. This has to do with the character of Sasha Bordeaux. We found out a little bit more about her, which is kind of different from her comics origin, or slightly different, I guess, according to what Von Gloom says from her comic book version, but not that far off as it seems. I guess I don't know. Like I said, I don't know that much about the character, so outside of what little I've read. But apparently, in an interview with Screen Rant, Saul Rodriguez, who plays Sasha Bordeaux, kind of teased some stuff about a thing that was a revelation that came out in, not necessarily a revelation, but something that we saw with her in Peacemaker season 2, episode 5. And the reason why I'm not saying this is because that episode just came out, so but she also talks a little bit about her character and whatnot. So, like I said, I'll leave that to folks to explore on themselves. Next up, though.
Right, we actually forgot to mention in all the talk of the 2 Peacemaker episodes we were able to talk about and recap this week. There's a revelation about Eagly that actually proves correct. It
Yes.
actually proves correct.
Yes. Apparently that was
A
a thing
theory
that
was proved correct.
that actually gave me a genuine laugh. I'm like, huh, all right. It actually kind of makes sense given what that bird's been getting into this whole time.
Right.
So
Right. Right. So it was, we'll pretend he found it though. So anyway,
yeah.
So in news that is not a surprise, Superman HBO Max release date was confirmed. It's today.
Mm-hmm. It's out there. Can't
It's
confirm
there right now.
Yeah, can't confirm as one of us was watching it before the show.
Right. I literally had Superman up on HBO Max as just ahead of our pre-production meeting.
Although it's weird here. Wait a minute. So what is?
It says tomorrow, but that's not right. It's
No.
today.
It does say HBO Max on the 19th, but I'm looking at the
okay.
next line where it says debuts on HBO Linear on tomorrow.
Regular HBO.
Is that what that exactly? I wasn't sure. Like I'd never seen it called
That's
that.
what that means.
Okay.
Yeah, no, linear TV is regular broadcast as opposed to streaming.
How far we've come. So yeah, and apparently there's a version of Superman with ASL American Sign Language is going to be on that's going to come to HBO Max. So that's cool. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Yeah, if you haven't seen Superman, or even if you have and you want to revisit it, it's out there if you have HBO Max. And apparently we'll be on. Does anybody actually watch HBO, like on, like the channel?
Linear?
Yes.
Sometimes.
Interesting, because I figure most people would be like, I'll wait till the next day. Or actually, I know people were doing it when Game of Thrones and whatnot were live, and people were live reacting to it. But that was it's still been a few years.
Right. It's few and far in between for me. I can give you my particular example is that every once in a while I'll turn on Last Week Tonight right on time. Just so that I don't have to stay up any later than I have to.
Sure. Fair. And also worth noting, being that you will notice on HBO Max, there are some Superman leaning trappings that are on the page because of it came out. Like, here's what the Daily Planet is suggesting that you watch outside of Superman and things like that. It's weird stuff. So, yeah, weird. Anyway, next up. Yeah, apparently the Huckleberry Hound show is getting a Blu-ray release, and it's going to be available in its original form for the first time in over 60 years, according to this article. Let's see. So it's going to be an 11-disc Blu-ray package that represents one of the label's most heroic reconstruction and preservation efforts, according to this article. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, that's pretty much it, and it goes into the history of Huckleberry Hound and and the whatnot. But it does not say, because this is a long ass article for this. It doesn't say when and how much that the set is going to be, from what I can tell. But it sounds like it's getting a good transfer, hopefully. And that's the one thing we can only hope for stuff like this. Next up.
All right. Why does David Ellison want Paramount to swallow Warner Brothers Discovery whole? Apparently, it's to beat rival suitors to the punch. I guess that's the story.
I guess, yeah. I guess. Swallowed.
Right. So Ellison Skydance Media just completed the $8 billion takeover of Paramount Global 5 weeks ago. Now, before Ellison and his team have even finished the work of laying off upwards of 2,000 employees. Where's the boo? Where's the boo? Gotta have a boo here somewhere.
Oh.
I know I have one, but like when you're really just kind of thinking of, stories like this, it's like, oh, seriously, M&A, mergers and acquisitions. This is just, part of the story. Right, that there are layoffs involved, right? So, I feel like I still flash back to uh to my man Eclectics, our man Eclectics sound effects, and I'm like, wait, I know that I have a boo here, and I'm just not seeing it because it's a Statler and Waldorf.
Actually, I think I absolutely have that one.
Yeah, I know I have it somewhere. I just have it stashed, and like when you lose track of, oh, here we go. Here we go, man. Well, this is one thing.
That's terrible, man. Your mother brought you up wrong, that's what it is.
That and
Hey, boo!
thank you.
There it is.
So right, so they're doing, they're going to lay off upwards of 2,000 employees at the newly merged Paramount Skydance to slash costs. The son of tech multi-billionaire Larry Ellison is mulling what would currently be a $70 billion plus deal to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery in its entirety. So why now? Because they want to beat other people to the punch. That's the bottom line.
Eat the rich. That's the bottom line. So yeah. Next up, though, Daredevil Born Again is officially greenlit for season 3, and shooting will start sometime next year. So let's see. And I say sometimes because we don't get an exact date for that. But yeah, Marvel greenlit it. It's there. Brad Windelbaum was out there talking about it. So therein lies that, and we have nothing else. Next up.
Alrighty, Fantastic Four First Steps will hit digital starting September 23rd. That's not Disney Plus just yet, but you'll be able to access it via digital platforms, and then you're going to get a physical launch on October 14th.
Mm-hmm.
So still no word here as to when it's going to hit Disney Plus.
Somewhere in between both of those.
Yep, no word here.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I stand by that. It might be like, well, wait, no, because that's a little close. September 23rd, but in October 14th. I would assume like at the very least a week before the physical launch. Usually it'd be like 2 weeks or more, but
right.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. We'll let y'all know when we find out. Next up, though, Mark Hamill said reputation as Luke Skywalker cost him an iconic movie role, and that role is Amadeus. So apparently,
Amadeus.
Yep. So in an interview with the Hollywood Reporter from like last week, let's see, and age is coming up. He said he believed his breakthrough role also cost him movie roles outside of the franchise. He recalled an interaction with the late director Milos Forman, who told Hamill he wasn't right for the leading part in the 1984 musical adaptation Amadeus. The quote is, "I said Milos, I played Amadeus on Broadway and in the national tour, and I was wondering if there was a chance you'd consider me for the part," which I did not know this about Mark Hamill. And he laughed, no, because no one is going to believe that Luke Skywalker is the Mozart, Hamill told Hollywood Reporter. And I hear that that movie, The Last Mile, or The Last Walk, has been doing okay-ish. Which, if I'm not mistaken, is a Stephen King adaptation. Yes. So
right,
which is why he's out here talking.
It was something he wrote, something he wrote under the pen name Richard Bachman. That's one of the Bachman books.
Yeah, as he tends to do sometimes. Next up.
Alrighty, guess who's back? Speaking with the direct, voice actor Jim Cummings appeared to confirm that his Clone Wars character, Hondo Ohnaka, will be making a return to Star Wars as part of... well, he was pretty hush-hush about the specific return of the character, but... and whether or not he will appear in the upcoming sequel animated series Mall Shadow Lord. Okay. But that seems likely.
Yeah. I love Hondo. Hondo's a great character.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for that if that happens. I'm kind of surprised we didn't get him in like Ahsoka or something. But season 2 is still out there. But even though they're going to be in a different place, anyway. Creppins. Hold on a second, folks. Pardon me. Okay, there we go. Ando's Alex Lothar was shocked to hear his Star Wars manifesto went viral. So apparently this dude that I can't remember his character's name. Let's see. Nemec in season 1. There we go. Who died on a mission, and he had the manifesto. He is now in Alien Earth, which is why he's out here talking about that. And apparently, he says, I had no idea. And he only found out long after filming season 1, when Tony Gilroy let him know that the speech would be reused as a coda for the series finale. Quote, he wrote this beautiful email about the resonance of that particular piece of writing, Lothar says. When the I guess the person interviewing asks what the email says, the actor quickly pulls it up on his computer and starts to read it, and which I won't, but but you can check all of that out in this article. So there you go. Next up.
Alrighty. The latest Tron Ares trailer takes us back to 1982. Okay. Is there anything more to say other than that?
Outside of the fact that there's a trailer, a new trailer rather, which I watched fairly recently, and outside of the fact that Jared Leto is in it, still thinking about watching this movie.
Well, apparently, you get Jeff Bridges coming back.
Yeah, as Old Man Flynn. So yeah, I'm like I said, as a fan of I guess at this point the franchise, I'm kind of down for this movie. So maybe, I don't think movie protocol will be necessarily for this, but I kind of want to watch it, but I also don't want to watch Jared Leto. So gotta weigh that one out. And that's going to be October 10th. So we'll see what happens, what my decision will be closer to time. Next up, though, the Muppet Show Revival special set at Disney Plus, and Sabrina Carpenter to guest star. I keep hearing that name. I still don't next to it. I know she's a singer. And I keep seeing stuff pop up about her from the Duncan app as collaboration wise, but I still don't know what she sings or anything, or probably couldn't point her out in a crowd at this point. So, but yeah,
I'm only familiar with her because I know that she was on the Saturday Night Live anniversary special.
Sure, yes, that is also true. But yeah, Variety has learned that Disney Plus has greenlit a one-off Muppet Show event special that will air in 2026 to coincide with the original show's 50th anniversary. God. In the special, the Muppets will return to the Muppet Theater to produce a variety show, as they are wont to do. And again, Sabrina Carpenter will guest star. I presume there's going to be more people than just her showing up for that thing. But
50th anniversary for the Muppet Show.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yep, it's time to do all the things. I can't remember the name of the song. I was just about to rattle it off, but I don't remember. So, let's see. Apparently, veteran Muppet performers are going to be in control of the Muppet characters, so that's good. Let's see. And it talks about I don't know why this mentions this, but I'm just going to say it anyway. Oh, I guess if you're watching the video version, you can see, I guess, Sabrina Carpenter, I guess, yeah. She did a thing for them. But yeah, apparently, let's see, the Muppets are for. Well, they were talking to one of the performers, and they were talking about originating. This person originated the characters of Gonzo and Dr. Bunsen Honeydew, amongst others. So I guess we never did know. We don't really necessarily know the names of who's controlling the Muppets. But there's a list of names here, so there you go, if you're interested. Next up, though.
Alrighty, Nickelodeon. Oh my gosh, getting tired. Nickelodeon has set the details for its Avatar: The Last Airbender panels at New York Comic Con. On October 9th, the company will preview new toy and game lines set to debut over the next year. At the end of the panel, which is titled The Merch Nation, Avatar Legends, action figures, and games, fans will have a chance to answer trivia questions to win special prizes. The panel will begin at 3:30 p.m. in North Javits, room 408. You will not find me there. Then, on October 12th, the original voice actors for Aang, Katara, Sokka, Toph, and Zuko will reunite with series co-creator Brian Konietzko on a panel moderated by Korra voice actor Janet Varney in celebration of the show's 20th anniversary. This has been around for 20 years, and I still refuse to watch it.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yeah, you're being stubborn for no reason. But yeah, and also, folks, yes, you can tell by the fact that the way he said half of those names that he has absolutely not watched the show, which he should, because it's a good show, and I don't know why he's being so stubborn about it. Anywho's, yeah, that I'm sure that would be a pretty good panel for fans of the shows. I still need to watch Korra or the rest of Korra, but oh hush. But yeah, I love Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's a great show. Next up, though, speaking of, apparently Katara's name would have been totally different, or almost was totally different, according to the creators of the show. So they were on the latest episode of Avatar: Braving the Elements podcast, because there's a podcast for everything. DiMartino and Konietzko discussed that the children and the grandchildren of Aang and other Avatar Last Airbender characters in the follow-up series, which is the series, I guess this is coming up. Oh, no, excuse me, this is from Korra they were talking about. When discussing Kia, Katara and Aang's daughter, Konietzko noted, a little history on Kaya is that Katara's original name, that was Katara's original name. So, in other words, Katara would have been Kia in the original Avatar: The Last Airbender as opposed to Katara. So there you go. And apparently they were told that they couldn't use it because there was a video game that had a character named Kaya, which, yeah, there's probably a couple of them. And I think there might be an actual video game named Kaya. So that's weird still. So yeah, so then they changed the name to Katara and stuck with it, and there you go. And it just so there you go. And the Sokka voice actor was talking about Kia, that because they had already had Kia in their in their lexicon already. It was already in the voice actor's name, in the voice actor's head. So cool. Anyway, next up we get into Anime Corner.
All right, the official website for the Chainsaw Man series announced that Chainsaw Man, the movie I'm not 100% sure if this is going to be right. Reze or Rize arc, the film based on the Rize arc of Tatsuki Fujimoto's Chainsaw Man manga, will get midnight screenings in 12 theaters across Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya, Fukuoka, and Hokkaido in Japan today, September 19th. So, there's a poster unveiled for the new screenings, but check it out. The film opens in Japan on September 19th, but it opens in the US of A on, I saw a date here, October 24th.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if there are any plans to catch this movie on or about October 24th. Yeah, we'll see what happens there.
Yep. So you still got time to catch up on Chainsaw Man if you are so inclined.
Yep.
Next up though. Oh wait, did I just? I did not. Okay, just making sure. It's the end of an era for Yu Hakusho. Not really, just a little hyperbolic. But however, it is leaving Hulu, and that's what this article was about. Let's see. So, if you don't have a physical copy of Yu Hakusho, oh wait, it's gone already. Sorry. So, the October 31st, 2025 was. Yeah, so along with Yu Hakusho, over 20 anime titles made their exodus from the streaming service, that being Hulu. Hulu used to be, according to this article, used to be known as a well-rounded streaming hub, offering titles spanning loads of genres across mediums, which is kind of true. And they talk about other offerings from there. Apparently, Cowboy Bebop and Ouran High School Host Club were gone. And of course, Yu Hakusho, and it goes into. I assume this is going to go into where you can actually watch Yu Hakusho, if you know. I know there's a Pluto TV channel that will play episodes here every now and then. So yeah, I guess you got to go to like Apple TV and Amazon and buy them, and. I think it might still be on Crunchyroll. I'm pretty sure. So if you've got Crunchyroll,
it is.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen.
I'm
it
almost
recently.
certain it is.
Yeah, I can't imagine that one leaving there because I know I feel like I've seen it recently on there because I know it definitely was on there.
Certain it is.
Yeah.
Now
so,
you're gonna make me check just to double check.
Yeah. So Yu Hakusho is great. If you haven't watched that one, it's pretty good. You should check it out if you have not. But
It's on my list. I started it. If I'm not mistaken, it was also one of those shows where the protagonist is not exactly someone you can root for. So
not at first. Yeah.
Right. And I'm pretty early in, so
right.
I will say, I'll say that right. It's not the easiest character to root for. I'm gonna double check my watch list.
He gets better and or worse depending on what part you catch him in. Let's just say. But I think even then he might even get better. Actually, I need to go back and watch the end of it again because I don't remember. Either way, like I said, still a good show for one of the I kind of call it a DBZ alike because it kind of sort of goes through similar beats because the main character.
It's still there. It's still there.
I figured. But yeah, the character goes through power upgrades every now and then. That tends to happen, and of course, there's also a tournament. So there you go. But it's just not on Hulu anymore. So or what? If you are enterprising, you can go the R right. That way. Anyway, next up.
Alrighty, next up. Let's see. Crunchyroll officially has a rival streamer with more than 500 anime series. Available for free $99. AMC Networks' anime platform High Dive is set to rival Crunchyroll this month by offering free access to select episodes from its library of over 500 titles. The move is part of High Dive's new strategy to spotlight its catalog for a wider audience and stand out against major streaming rivals such as Crunchyroll and Netflix. As part of the rollout, fans can enjoy full Season 1 runs of The Eminence in Shadow, My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu, Made in Abyss, and other fan favorites throughout September 2025. Where is it?
Who?
I mean, these are fan favorites?
For deeper anime fans than you, yes. And actually,
right?
Me,
that has to be the case.
Yeah, hey, people are into a lot of other things outside of, volleyball. Anyway, but yeah, High Dive has been around for a minute, and this is an interesting strategy for them. There's also, I know they have at least one of those fast channels on Pluto TV and other places that you can peruse some of their stuff from. So yeah, that's interesting. I mean, and Retro Crush is also out there doing their thing on
Just
the
for
side.
that.
Yeah, basically for the most part for retro stuff. So yeah,
Just
that's
for that.
What's that?
I said just for that.
Oh yeah, I mean there is some there is.
I'm teasing.
No. You're basically right though, because as the name implies, it's older stuff, but there's a couple of relatively newer stuff that they got on there, but it's still that stuff is still older than current.
Right.
So anyway, Aniplex reveals Inherit the Wind's original TV anime. So this was announced at the Aniplex Online Fest on, I guess, this past Saturday or a recent Saturday. And I just keep wanting to say Aniplex because that's how that thing goes.
Right.
But let's see, the anime takes place in the Bakumatsu era of Kyoto. A soldier who has lost his memory is aided by a famous Shinsengumi member, Soji Okita. I almost got through that. Let's see, and another person, Junsuke Tachikawa, also is there. So, they renamed the dude as to that name I just gave, and it goes on from there. There's a trailer on this article if you are interested in anything else I just said. So, or if you don't already know about it, it's there. Next up.
Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Infinity Castle took over the international box office over this past weekend. The movie continued to hold its own in Japan, and it's apparently now earned in Japan over 33 billion yen to become the second highest grossing film of all time in Japan and officially passed Spirited Away. So, you kind of have to just realize that Demon Slayer is kind of one of those peak things. That's what people say. So,
yeah. As a matter of fact, go ahead and take the next one while we're at it, since we're on that.
Yeah, we're making the Demon Slayer is packing theaters. Okay. Demon Slayer is heading to $100 million cumulative at the weekend box office, ahead of the movies such as him, Margot Robbie, and Colin Farrell's A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. So basically, it's crushing the competition from this past weekend's box office. And it's expected to reign in its second weekend at the box office. No matter if it drops, because it should make the $100 million mark by this coming Sunday.
Mm. And actually,
easily making more money than 1999's Pokemon, which ended its stateside run at $85.7 million. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And before I do this next story, I'm just going to drop this other one in here really quick. It's in there. I just don't have it in the same place. But here's every Demon Slayer Infinity Castle popcorn bucket.
No way.
Yes, and actually, and it's some of the ones that, or at least one of the ones that we talked about previously is coming. The one that looks like the film canister looks like. So, and then of course there is another one that's Nezuko's box, which I don't know how to feel about that. But let's see. So yeah, Regal and Cinemax is just getting a regular. Well, one of the ones that are getting a regular bucket with the main characters on the bucket and the cup. Let's see. AMC is
that in the clickbait?
No, it is. It's basically the last one in the cinematic in the anime section. But I need to move it.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that one. If you're watching a video version, you can see me scrolling through the stuff. There's a popcorn box that looks like it's a bucket. Looks like a.
Oh, the Nezuko box one looks cool.
Yeah, it does. It does. But I was gonna say something that was gonna sound real bad, so I'm not gonna say it. So, and then there's that one.
So this is it's currently at Universal Studios Japan. Oh,
Right,
tough.
but yeah, but it sounds like some of it's coming here though.
Right. So apparently it's technically not for Infinity Castle, but that's a definite collector's item.
Right, which one? The canister one or the
No, the Nezuko box.
Nezuko
Nezuko in a
box?
box.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
So let's see. Oh wait, actually, let me see if I can get the prices here. So yeah, the bucket that's on the screen right now, which is basically the bucket with the main character with the three main buckets and buckets. Let's see, the tin and cup as it says. Let's see, the tin will cost $15, and the 44 ounce will be $7.75, and you can get them together as a combo. Again, there's AMC and Marcus Theater that has another bucket, which basically looks like a box. With
It's
the
currently
characters on
sold
the side.
out at the Marcus Theater.
Yeah, not
Just
surprising.
clicked on it.
And that was
Just
like 20,
clicked on it.
$24.99. I'm sure they'll get some more back in. Let's see, and they also have cups. And then there's the GNC. So we talked about this one before, but I think this one still might be overseas. So this is, and that is that the popcorn bucket with the LED lights.
Those cups are actually kind of cool because they look like the sword, the katana, the sword guard,
Mm-hmm.
and the hand, like a bit of the handle, where the straw goes. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you can see it says Universal Studios Japan with the Nezuko box. See, $37 at the theme park. Of course, on eBay, the popcorn bucket can be found for like $90 to $160, because of course. Yeah, most of this stuff looks like it still might be overseas, apparently. But I thought I saw somewhere in here. Oh yeah, you can look at eBay for some of the stuff, but there's going to be a markup. And yeah, some of the stuff is still overseas only, sadly. So that sucks. I was kind of hoping that at least the film canister one was going to come over here proper.
Right.
Or
No,
that
those
other
cups look pretty cool.
or the other LED one. Yeah, but not so much. But yeah, stuff is out there for you basically if you are so inclined. Now to get into the story that I was actually going to do, Chainsaw Man opening theme song, which I should have moved this one also. Kickback makes history as first RIAA Platinum certified Japanese song. So it is Kenshi Yonezu's latest single. Iris Out serves as the opening theme for the Reze Arc anime film. So yeah. Kickbacks is platinum, and dude's got another song that's gonna be on this next arc or in the movie, I would presume, and of course the opening credits and the video for the song that went platinum is in the article. Next up, perfectly.
Of course I would get this. A new K-pop Demon Hunters film is on the way, and it might be a prequel. So, a PG animated short film named Debut, a K-pop Demon Hunters story, was filed this week by the MPA Classification and Rating Administration. So the distributor, Sony Pictures Animation, was also listed as responsible. The film is listed to have been rated PG for some action, violence, as well as scary images, whatever. Those who have watched K-pop Demon Hunters can piece together that once more we'll be seeing some level of demon slaying. The release date of the short film was not revealed, but what this article speculates is that, obviously from the title, it may follow Rumi, Zoe, and Mira's debut, both into the world of the K-pop entertainment industry and as demon hunters. So, those are guesses, but those seem to be fairly well sourced and well reasoned guesses.
Sure, why not? Next up, we get into the manga corner. The Art of Star Wars: A New Hope, the manga collection, the manga collector's edition cover has been revealed, and it is a Kickstarter that is currently underway for the art book. Based on, according to this article, the Eisner-winning manga. So, and this is coming from Dark Horse and Lucasfilms. Let's see. It is a deluxe set highlighting the work from author Hisayo Tamaki. The book features never before seen artboards in their original right to left orientation and more. And now, according to this article, they have an exclusive look at the cover. Let's see, do we have a price? Apparently, this manga came out in 1997, and the campaign started on September 16th. So just a few days from now. And so if you're interested in this, you can go check out the Kickstarter and, you know, back it if you wanna. And apparently, no surprise, it was a $50,000 goal and very much made it, with still 27 days to go at this point. So yeah, that's a thing that's more than likely gonna actually come out. So stick out 27 days if you're interested from this recording. Next up,
Avatar: The Last. How did I get another Avatar: The Last Airbender story? Avatar: The Last Airbender Fire and Family Treasury box set trade paperback is collects the standalone stories of Azula in the Spirit Temple, the Bounty Hunter, and the Tea Brewer, that is, and Ashes of the Academy, featuring new box art by Peter Wortman and Adele Matera. These were published earlier this week, with a price of $38.97. So you can find this box set probably in a bookstore or comic book store near you.
$38.97 price if you're interested. So
Yep.
There you go. Carolyn Cash to take over Nancy comic strip from Olivia James. So let's see. Olivia James, the pen name for the web cartoonist whose true identity was never revealed, is retiring after a smash hit 8 years run of the strip, according to this article. Caroline Cash is an Eisner and Ignatz winning creator of the hilarious humor comic, according to this article, Pee Poo Poo. That's right, folks. That's what it says here. We'll take over in January 1st, 2026. Syndicate Andrews McNeil announced when this article came out, which a couple of days ago. So yeah, there will be reprints of the strip until Cash takes over. And apparently Carolyn Cash is no stranger to Nancy, because she did a guest stint back in 2024. So there you go. Next up.
Alrighty, Evil Knievel has jumped onto Kickstarter for a new comic book series. So, Half Evil Comics, I love that name. Half Evil Comics, with publisher R.E. Nelson and Evil Knievel's son, Kelly Knievel, has launched its Kickstarter funding for the first ever proper Evil Knievel comic book series, featuring the famed stunt motorcyclist. And it's written by Ryland Grant of The Jump and The Peacekeepers. Artist is Dave Acosta of Terror War, Elvira and Dragon. Letterer is HDE, and editor is R.E. Nelson, with covers by Flops and Ray Anthony Height.
Flops.
So you can find it on Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I can think of with Evil Knievel, outside of, back in the day, seeing some stuff from, was the little toy where you had the motorcycle on the little stand, and you had to rev it up and he would just take off and you could make him jump stuff and whatnot. And of course, Super Dave Osborne, which was a parody of Evil Knievel. So that still is dating me and dating us badly. But anyway, Image Comics to reboot The Darkness with original creator Mark Silvestri. So let's see. So this is coming from Image Comics and Top Cow. It's going to be a new ongoing series that kicks off in December 2025. The new book will be written by Silvestri. Ed Benez is going to, of Justice League of America, will draw the first issue, with inks by Matt Banning, Saul Regla, and John Livesay, colors by Arif Prianto, and letters by Troy Peters. So yeah, Raymond Gay of Gunslinger Spawn will take over art duties beginning with issue 2. And the first issue will feature covers from Sylvester Bennett and David Mack. So there you go, folks. The 90s are back again. Next up.
All right, Dynamite has signed on with Neon Ichiban. So the boys, Thundercats, and more are coming to that particular digital platform. So Dynamite Entertainment will make both its backlist and new releases available on the startup digital comics platform Neon Ichiban, which is currently in beta and will launch a public beta soon. Okay.
Actually, and they're not the other ones that are going to that. I believe it is Oni Press. Titan, excuse me, it's Titan also is going to join that platform, which I don't know. I kind of want to check that out.
So what the article actually says, other publishers on the platform include Dark Horse, DC, Distillery, Kodansha, Marvel, Oni Press, and Vault Comics. Okay.
Right, yeah, some of those were there from the get-go. But yeah, I'm going to see if we can catch the beta of this just out of curiosity, just to check it out. But, if we do, we'll see. Mike Mignola creates a Hellboy Western with Ray Allen. So this is going to be a 4-issue comic that explores supernatural mysteries of the 1870s New Mexico territory. Let's see, the main character named is Carmen Redclaw, who is a shape-shifting gun-for-hire linked to Lobster Johnson lore. The series draws on Native American folklore, inspired by Tikala Za. I apologize, I probably butchered that. And features a demonic lizard sidekick. So yeah, again, and it is called Carmen Redclaw. There you go. You can see the cover right there from Mignola and Ray Allen. As a matter of fact, specifically, Carmen Redclaw, Belly of the Beast is the name of the book. Next up.
So if you're not reading Absolute Batman, this is a bit of a spoiler for issue number 12 because Absolute Batman provided in the current story twisted new origin stories for several iconic Batman villains in the most recent issue. I'm not going to spoil everything, but yeah, we dealt with a lot of the new versions, the absolute ultimate versions, of several Batman villains.
Mm-hmm. Which, yeah, we kind of talked about this. What was that, last week? We kind of hinted, kind of went around it.
I did.
Yeah. But, just in case. Next up, though, Marvel DC crossover has Captain America and Wonder Woman fighting in WW2 or World War II. So 870 also talked about that a little earlier when you talked about that. And that is the Chip Zdarsky and the Dotsons story. So, and you got, in case you're interested, there's a couple of panel pages from that book. From that story, excuse me, if you are interested. Next up, though.
One second. Let me get this article open. Dr. Doom falls, but Marvel's next villain could be even worse. In The Will of Doom #1, coming out this December. The Will of Doom #1, a one-shot by Chip Zdarsky and Cafu, explores the aftermath of One World Under Doom, setting the stage for the next era of the Marvel Universe. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Wait. Oh, no,
right, so this is going to be in December. And also it kind of ties into what's currently happening in the pages of Captain America, or what will be happening in the pages of Captain America.
Right. Which, yeah, I think you probably mentioned a little bit of it. So, yeah. Okay. Interesting. Weird. Cool. Deadpool Batman #1 introduces Logo, a new mashup hero. So this is not Batman Deadpool. This is Deadpool Batman, the other side of that. And this is actually the thing that is getting apparently a second printing, not the Batman Deadpool. Because according to this Marvel article, following its sold-out launch, Deadpool Batman #1 returns to shops on... Wait, is it?
It is.
Okay.
It is getting a second printing. Yeah.
Okay.
You're not reading that.
Okay, yeah, I was like, wait, am I tripping? Anyway, returns to shops on October 29th with a highly demanded second printing. It will feature a all-new variant cover by Ryan Stegman, highlighting the new character of Logo. Boo.
I know.
The instantly iconic new Marvel DC mashup hero that debuted in the issue unannounced backup story by Ryan North and Stegman. Suppose slight spoiler alert for there, for that, as well as Virgin editions by Mark Bagley and Frank Miller's Mark Bagley and Frank Miller's variant covers. So there you go. If you're watching the video version, you can see said character right there. Yeah, boo. Next up.
No. That's so funny. Let's see. Marvel Studios' Infinity Saga concert experience is coming to Carnegie Hall. So, a journey into the Marvel Cinematic Universe with this live-to-film orchestral performance on October 4th and 5th. Get your tickets now. Let's see here. October 4th and 5th at 8 p.m. Marvel.com readers can also use a particular code for 10% off tickets.
Yep. Said code is, if you're watching the video version, is right there. I'm not going to read it.
Mm-hmm.
And since it's saying it's live to film, that would suggest that it's probably going to be on Disney Plus at some point in the future. Just saying, just in case you can't make it up that way to, to check it out if you're so inclined.
Right. Audiences will relive key moments from the movies.
You have to think Rogers the musical is going to play a part of this, right? you have to.
I didn't even think of that. I did not even think of that. I doubt it, but you never know.
I don't know.
You're going to get a lot of the orchestral music stuff that played in, obviously it's going to be the Avengers theme.
Right.
It's going to be
Captain America stuff.
Probably the Captain America stuff. I always harken back to some of my favorite music is from the Winter Soldier because the Winter Soldier theme is appropriately scary.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Yeah,
So-
all of that's probably going to be in there. But just saying, a little bit of Rogers the musical might just maybe, if they're feeling whimsical enough. But anywho, as we get over into Toy Corner, some very good news that I saw. Marvel Cosmic Invasion reveals Black Panther and Cosmic Ghost Rider joining the roster. There's a trailer out there that showcases both of those characters. Also, this article mentions the fact that Black Panther solo video game was canceled by EA. Boo. Ugh. But yeah, T'Challa and Frank Castle. Yeah. And the game
Cosmic Ghost Rider is a pretty wild addition to this game.
And it mentions as much, and it definitely was, because when I saw it, I was like, that's all right. That's a weird one. But also makes sense, given, at the very least, the name of the thing. So let's see. So the other characters that have been confirmed, outside of Black Panther and Ghost Rider, is Beta Ray Bill, Captain America, Nova, probably Richard Rider most likely, Phyla-Vell, Rocket Raccoon, She-Hulk, Spider-Man, Storm, Silver Surfer, Venom, and Wolverine.
I mean, I'm going to be buying this. So.
Oh, absolutely. Same.
This will be a fun game to play.
Mm-hmm. And apparently there are two
later
more...
this year. That's not much. There's not much time left this year.
Yeah, and .emu is pretty good about this stuff, so it's bound to be a pretty good time. And also, there are two more characters left to be revealed by the buy. So
crazy.
And I'm sure there's probably going to be some DLC. I would be shocked if there was not. But yeah, can't wait for this.
I personally can't wait to use Beta Ray Bill in this game.
that'll definitely be one. Because I thought about it when I saw this Black Panther. I was like, well, Black Panther's getting used, Storm's getting used already. Baby Bill's going to see some action, definitely. Probably Spidey and She-Hulk, because I have definitely have used those characters in other games. So, wait, do we? No, we're not. It's just so more than likely we still don't have a date
later this year.
Yeah, so probably it's going to be like November-ish. I would suspect November, December-ish, around holiday time. So wouldn't be surprised. Next up, though.
All right, Disney and Webtoon Entertainment have broadened their relationship to create a new digital comics platform. So, more than 35,000 comics from Marvel, Star Wars, Disney, Pixar, and 20th Century Studios will be available in a single digital comic service with one convenient subscription. Don't we have that now? But apparently this is going to be through Webtoon. So this is going to be part of Disney Plus Perks program. Disney Plus subscribers who want to further explore the stories will be able to access a curated selection of comic titles in the new app at no additional charge. Okay.
Yeah, this is a little different from what you might be thinking, but I can understand why one would think such. So yeah, people are getting stop. People are getting into webtoons, as we will see by this next story, because Star Trek to launch original digital comics with Webtoon in 2026. Let's see. So yeah, Paramount announced on September 8th, which was Star Trek Day, that Star Trek will expand into digital comics in 2026. And that's outside of the ones that we already know they have, but this is specifically the Webtoon version of said. Anyway, there's no. Oh, this is to also celebrate the 60th anniversary of the franchise. Let's see, there's no further details about the creative team, storylines, or specific launch schedule at this time, but we just know that it is coming sometime next year. So. And there's also mentions other partnerships, including the Disney one that Webtoons has done. So there you go. Next up.
Alrighty, early preview. The Last Starship brings Captain Kirk back into a whole new era of Star Trek. So IDW has yet another title. Let's see, set during the era of the burn, Star Trek The Last Starship will bring Captain James T. Kirk back from the dead just in time for him to watch the Starfleet he loved so dearly burn to the ground. Love it. The new ongoing series is being written by the Eisner-nominated duo of Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, former guests of the Comic Book Chronicles, with art by Adrian Bonilla and colors by Heather Moore. The series features a primary cover by Francesco Francavilla and variants by Skylar Partridge and a foil variant by Michael Cho. The first issue of The Last Starship arrives on September 24th. And is there a cover price available?
Brought a standard price.
$4.99 or $3.99?
$4.99 at this point.
Yep. I don't have information on price, but it's probably $4.99.
Yeah, that's pretty likely at this point because everything else is. So yeah, the burn is basically late Discovery era, Star Trek Discovery era stuff. So he's going far flung into the future for this one. So next up, Jerry Ryan returns to 7 of 9 for Star Trek Online Unleashed. Let's see, which picks up where season 33 Unveiled left off. Unleashed will task players to work alongside Seven and Hugh in order to capture an Aetherian leader. It also offers a new task force operation at Kittimer HQ called Shattered Peace. Both Ryan and Del Arco, Jonathan Del Arco, who plays Hugh, are coming back to voice their roles. See, and they've recorded new voice lines for the season, which kicks off September 23rd on PC and a November 11th on Xbox and PlayStation. So there you go. Cool. Next up.
Star Wars Battle of Hoth board game launches on Amazon. The Battle of Hoth game includes 74 miniatures and is designed for frantic 30-minute battles. It launched in August, and now it's finally available at Amazon for $60. So the miniatures skirmish game is a 2-player recreation of the iconic Battle of Hoth. One player controls the forces of the Rebel Alliance, defending their base, and the other commands the Galactic Empire's attack force. Okay.
It also reminds me of
So
a
it
video.
offers 17 unique pre-made scenarios. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Reminds me of a video that I want Agent 7 to watch if I remember to pull it up after the show. But yeah, that's kind of neat. I mean, that makes sense for a setting for a game of that such. Funko celebrates 15 years of DC Pop figures at NYCC 2025. So let's see. The original DC Funko Pop figures are being re-released as New York Comic Con exclusives. You can see said pops if you're watching the video version. There's going to be, unsurprisingly, 2,000 units of Batman, 1,000 units of Joker and Robin, only 500 of Wonder Woman, 400 of Superman, and 100 of The Flash. So each one will be priced at $40 and will be at the Funko booth at the con, which is coming soon. Very soon. So there you go. Next up.
NECA unveils a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Raphael figure inspired by the 2012 Nickelodeon cartoon. The 7-inch figure features animated styling, detailed paintwork, and dual head sculpts for display options. Raphael comes loaded with episode-specific accessories, including Twin Sai, Pizza Slice, Turtle Com, and Chompy Picasso. Okay. And the figure releases in Q1 2026 at $36.99 a pop.
It's no Donatello, but you know. The Studio Series 86 Wind Charger has new images according to this Transformers site. So let's see, or have been leaked, excuse me, through the site. You can see the images. Oh wait, so let's see. The figures and others are coming up for pre-orders soon, possibly on Transformers Day on that day just passed a couple of days ago, or to be shown at New York Comic Con next month. So, you know, I would say I haven't seen any news on Transformers Day, but maybe something did and I missed it. But probably New York will be a good bet for this. But you can see the images of Wind Charger right there. If you're watching the video version, I don't know what that strange web is in front of them, but sure, why not? Next up.
Studio Series 86 liter Soundwave first look and wave stock photos. So it just came in. The provided image shows Soundwave in his robot and alt modes along with Ravage, Laserbeak, and Buzzsaw.
Sure, 2 out of 3 of those ain't bad. Surprised no Rumble or Rabbit or Frenzy. But hey, like I said, I'll take a Ravage any day. But I already have a Soundwave, so it doesn't matter either way. Haha. Yeah, and there's others. I think this is that same set that has Alpha Trion and a couple other folks. So there you go. If you're wanting a Soundwave figure, hey, you got it. I should have Agent 70 take this one, but Bandai returns to 90s Gundam with fan favorite high grade Gundam Gunpla re-release after more than 10 years. So this is for the, let's see, high grade 1144 Gundam Airmaster model kit, which is based on Gundam Airmaster from After War Gundam X, which is an anime that is now 25 years old. Recreating one of the show's main mecha, the model kit is a re-release of a previous premium Bandai toy. Scheduled to ship out by the end of this year, this figure is perfect to celebrate one of the more overlooked anniversaries of the overarching franchise, according to this article. Oh yeah, I ain't never watched that one, so you got me on that one, kid. And then it goes, of course, into the history of it, which we will not go into. Oh wait, is there a price? That's what I was actually looking for. $21.99 in the USA Gundam store. So there you go. Next up. And
Last
lastly,
but not least, last but not least, goodness gracious, this is real. Greenville Spider-Man saves two stuck on a downtown waterfall. What? Greenville Spider-Man, an 18-year-old local superhero, good God, recently rescued two people stuck on the waterfall at Falls Park, demonstrating his dedication to helping the community. This is real.
this is
Known
real.
for patrolling downtown and interacting with fans, he was in the right place at the right time to assist those in need. What the hell?
I had to
reading.
put this in here.
I
to.
can't.
What
The hell?
Oh,
So
boy.
apparently, at least the guy's, certified in CPR. Wait, he turned on his EMS scanner, and that's how he heard about what was going on. Oh my God!
Hey, I mean, Peter would have done the same, or used to do the same back in the.
Oh my God!
If you're watching the video version, you can see the loop of the of the video playing of this. And yes, this is from Greenville, South Carolina, here in the state that I reside.
Oh my God!
So, and if you're interested in this, you can look that up or go to the show notes, because like I said, I had to put this one in here just for that. Oh, he got hands too. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh my God!
Either way, that was a feel good story to end out this the news section on. And with that, folks, that ends the news, and we were going to get to our last ad read.
Our last ad read of the night. Keep our podcast free by shopping at Amazon. Visit cspn.us then click the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down and click on the Amazon link to shop. Purchase items from Amazon as you normally would, whether it's books, music, electronics, jewelry, apparel, or Marvel Legends. For every purchase made on Amazon through our link, Amazon sends the CSPN a payment that helps us keep the Comic Book Chronicles podcast free for our listeners at no extra cost to you. Amazon.com through CSPN.us. Do it today. I actually have some toy corner.
Yeah.
So if you
hang on, before you get into that, let me fix something here, because apparently your video got froze.
El Frozo.
Yeah, or at least on through OBS. Let's see if we can fix this real quick. There we go. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. But there we go. Hit it.
All right, we're doing toy corner now.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Or show and tell more specifically, but yes.
Yeah, show and tell. So, wait, did I do the Excalibur set last week?
I know we talked about it. I don't remember if you actually did, but if you want to roll it up real quick, go for it.
No, because I've got more than that.
Okay.
So I did order the Excalibur set. Right, I will drop the virtual background here, folks.
I remember us talking about it. I don't remember you showing it.
Right, that's why I asked. I think what ended up happening is that it hadn't come in yet. when we did last week's show, right? So here it is. The Captain
Nice.
Britain, Megan, and the old school Shadowcat
Okay.
costume.
Yeah.
Right? So I got this, at a small markup, but not very much of one, because of the release of the Rachel Summers Phoenix that I pre-ordered. And with and together with Nightcrawler, that gives me the 90s Excalibur. And so that's a pretty cool, cool way to finish up the set. The back of the box, actually, believe it or not, has the Jim Lee X-Men cards on them.
Nice.
The reprint of the Jim Lee X-Men cards for these particular characters. So that's pretty cool. We have a Shadowcat in a much more modern X-Men uniform, probably an astonishing X-Men look, if I'm not mistaken. But it's nice to see her in this kind of pirate inspired getup. Right.
Also, minus Widget or Gizmo, whatever his name was, but I think it was
Widget.
Widget. Yeah.
Widget. Yeah.
So that's the only thing missing.
Right. I'm pretty sure, like they've already done a Captain Britain before, but this looks like a standard Captain Britain. The other one looked pretty funky, and I think this is our very first version of Megan. So this is a pretty cool box set.
Yeah, I mean,
All right.
you weren't gonna get you weren't gonna get a standalone Megan.
No, probably not. Probably not. Now, in a surprise delivery, because this is one of those things where deliveries sometimes get even Amazon loses track of some things. No shots fired there. My Gamerverse Captain America versus Venom came in, and this is a pretty good version of Captain America. He looks bigger, like that star across his chest is elongated to kind of match the video game version. You can see that, like where it's like wider, right? It's not like uniform. And I'm not a big fan of the blue Venom here, but it's a nice variant, right? As a Gamerverse figure goes. So I mainly got it for the Cap, the version of Cap here, and we got like this charging star effect piece. You can see that right there in the middle.
Charging Star.
Right. So you can see that on the back of the box. You can see that piece in action. So that's actually probably one of the main reasons I got this. And at the end of the day, this is a pretty cool little set. I did not invest too heavily in the Marvel vs. Capcom Gamerverse figures. I may end up relenting and ordering Wolverine versus Silver Samurai just for fun, I guess, because that Wolverine is really stylistic. It's tough because all I ever want is one of the figures, and they make you buy two, which sucks because that's the way they get you, right?
Right.
It's like the Psylocke would be very tempting, but she comes with the Thanos, which I don't particularly care for. It's not, I don't need a video game version of Thanos. I've got the comic accurate one, which is pretty good. So, but in any event, that's show and tell / toy corner for me.
Well, for me, mine is really quick. There we go. Let's see. New version of the Marvel, expansion for the Marvel role-playing game just came out, and it, of course, it is Avengers flavored. So if you're watching the version, you can see that right there. Yep, smells real good. On the back it says
very
Avengers,
nice.
Avengers Assemble. On there, you got Hulk and Thor on there on the back. Like I said, just came out a couple of days ago, and I believe the next one is up, an X-Men one. I can't remember. There's another one coming up in a couple of months, but I don't know. But whether I will actually. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Ant-Man is also there on the back of this because Avengers, the originals, the OGs. So yeah, There's another one coming. I don't know if I'm gonna run anything from this campaign, but I would like to, or any of these campaigns, but I would like to. So
Right.
But actually, I can just like blap. I don't even know what page that is, but that's just like Goliath on the front. I mean, on the side right there, and
Right. So, okay, that's cool.
yeah.
Listen,
Well,
those books are great resources. It's obviously a bit of an investment to jump in, with each book, but I'm too much of a completist. I would probably get the main rule book and then at least get the Avengers, Spider-Man, and X-Men ones.
right, because yeah, the Spider-Verse one has been out. The X-Men one, I think it's coming out next. And there's the Kang one that's been out for a minute. So yeah, there's a few expansions for it, and there's some free stuff that you can go on marvel.com/RPG and download from that, because I think there's even like a Deadpool one shot that you can download off of that, and there's some other stuff that you can, some character sheets and stuff you can download and errata and whatnot. But that's it for show and tell for me. The one last thing I'm going to mention along those lines is that if you backed the Transformers compendium set on Kickstarter, the digital version, and you might want to check your emails, because the you can download the digital versions if that is the version that you got. You can download the digital version of the compendiums right now, and of course the physical versions are gonna be out according to what I saw, or still on track to come out this December. So yeah. That is a thing that's out there, and sometimes I forget to check my my emails on stuff like that. But this is just a reminder for those. Luckily, I did, and just happened to see that, and it was, titled properly enough for me to not not ignore it. So, but yeah, that's out there, and now Talk Corner is over, and now we are at the end of the show. So. Yeah, folks, we'll be back next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Hopefully, Thursday, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, 9:30, 10 o'clock, somewhere around about in there. We don't have any anything pressing or movie related to deal with then, so we should be clear. Hopefully, we have a clean week of books also, but that we can get to. But I have been Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at you can find me at Blue News Nerds Need on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram. Later days, Von Gloom. I didn't know you were still in chat, but good to have you here, sir.
Yeah, it's glad that you stuck around. Yes, it's we're filming we're broadcasting and recording on a different night, but we're glad you stuck around. It was just one of those weeks, folks, but few and far in between. Let's hope.
Indeed. Agent_70 on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads. You can find this here podcast on the Cold Slither Podcast Network, CSPN.us.
Do it today.
You can also find us on your podcast perusal place of choice, whether it be Apple iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Cold Slither Podcast Network SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, smash it.
Yeah, and like I said, you want to catch us live, we'll be on youtube.com/TheKliqNation and twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles every Thursday night. Also, actually, now that I think about it, I should probably promote this a little bit more. If you want to subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, you can go to youtube.com/TheKliqNation and search under the podcast tab, and you should find us there. And it's probably an RSS link, and you can get us there.
There you go.
So, and with that, folks, this has been the Comic Book Chronicles. Peace.
Peace. One.
My time is up. Peace out to Brooklyn.
Good evening, Rick. Would you believe